Hey peeps, Pheen here, and we're continuing on with the Great Ace Attorney. Last time, we started to learn that there's more than just us that believe in ourselves. And in this one, we gotta continue investigating to help prove everyone else that they're right in trusting in us. So, let's see. Wait, do we have to come back here? Yes, oh no.
What's that?
Oh no.
Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted the Coat of Battle 4. Full stop. Hard to starboard. All hands, brace for impact.
What the?
I think we're about to crash into another ship.
What? Oh no.
I can't stand.
Sasan, hold on to me. Ugh! Well, this escalated. Sasan, are you alright? Are you injured at all?
I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san.
Looks like we avoided a collision.
I think...
Yeah, the ship has come to a stop.
Oh my goodness. What about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt?
Nah, I'm fine. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, that sounds like...
Inspector Hasanaga.
Is that you and that Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door quickly.
What? The bolt? Look at that. The door's bolted. Did you do that, Susanoo-san?
No, I didn't touch it.
Well, that's strange. How did... And... Look at all the books. They're just like they were before again.
Naruhodo-san, aren't you gonna open the door and let the inspector in?
Huh. I'd better tidy this place up first. Our violent emergency stop has solved one mystery at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. Oh boy. Oh, come on! No, we won't save because we just started. That's like, what, our second or third to be continued just in the investigation? Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Sasan took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. Oh boy.
You, what are you doing with Pavlova's quarters?
You both look unhurt. Good. Yeah, we're fine. Thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship?
Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though.
Oh, how did that happen?
There's dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything in chaos! Passengers are screaming, crew are running everywhere! This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment.
Oh, I see.
Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside?
You wicked intruder! Dressed all in black, you are the devil!
Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first.
You opened my traveling case. How could you?
What? No, we didn't touch it!
That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector!
Yes?
Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man?
And he is stowaway as well. He vixen promises not to steal chicken. Do you believe?
Take him away. he is a trespasser as well as everything else.
Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You are a devil.
Doesn't look good, does it?
There's a symbol on deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we talk at Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police.
Wait, a cell?
Please, Inspector Hasanaga, is there nothing you can do?
This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options.
This is terrible.
This is a real crisis. We've got to find a solution. Immediately! Oh, crap. Examine. Please, can we just talk? Miss Pavlova, can I...
Get out!
Listen, I'm sorry that we stuck in here without your permission, but
Get out now!
we just need to investigate here to it's no use. She's not going to listen. I need to find someone who will. Hasanaga, I'm sorry.
You've got yourself in a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean.
Sorry, I was just so desperate to find a clue.
I am afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries.
I'm really sorry.
I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened. I'll have to report to the captain at once.
I really need some help here. I need a savior to rescue me from this crisis. Wait a minute. My savior! What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes?
Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles felt like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This is mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no.
Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then?
Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it would bend the conceited looking hook on the wall so full of brag and bounce.
I never know whether to take this man seriously or not.
You again. The great detective. Ah, Inspector. I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak! An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Burya, has been solved. By me, naturally.
What?
Really?
Yes. I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanation exists. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Ha! You have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing Student Boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is his stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it.
I didn't do it!
The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin.
Yes, it's what's called the locked room mystery in detective stories.
Da! Locked room! That is point!
The room was locked.
Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from the outside the cabin.
You are quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all.
What?
Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We've never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The ventilator? You think this is funny? I cannot even put an arm through that hole.
That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks.
You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible. But it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator.
Pavlova? What are you hiding?
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin.
Mr. Sholmes? What are you doing?
There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cause. Behold!
What the? Oh! Oh, it's a little snake friend! Oh, it's so cute! Little beady eyes and flitty. Oh, it's so adorable!
Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the speckled band.
A snake?
Indubitably.
Mr. Sholmes, just one thing.
Pray, what troubles you?
Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the stripe band, wouldn't you?
You both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think that this is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall?
Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap?
How exactly?
I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. That has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me.
There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No.
She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. Well, actually, there's kind of one big problem about that.
This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi.
It looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head.
I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Are we doing another dance? Yay!
Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes that night?
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin, no?
I don't know what you are talking about.
Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend stood next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled bandit. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it slows its skin. A snake so dreadful we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India.
I mean, this is the part that's the biggest problem. We know how he died, and it wasn't from venom, buddy.
Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why?
I'm not gonna lie, I've been unconsciously doing the gestures this whole time. I love this.
According to the data of which I've been appraised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove that the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, impressionable puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend.
This makes no sense.
There is no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt.
You don't...
It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend.
Train?
Indeed, you'd put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you summoned it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you release the snake once more. Do you deny this snake has undergone such training?
It's not true!
Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible.
Well...
Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band.
I hate to tell you, but there's a few holes in that statement.
Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key of training any creature.
Incredible. You solved the mystery!
Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand.
Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes?
But of course, what's on your mind?
It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me.
I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly.
Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You are well informed, madam.
And reptiles, don't drink milk.
Ah,
It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
no matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example, the logic holds.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears.
Ah,
Yeah, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal a snake by whistling.
but madam, what are the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sound of the flute?
Isn't that whole thing basically they follow the motions of the flute, not the sound?
I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Yeah, exactly!
Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept to be practically useless.
Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes.
There is one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins.
Then it should try harder.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have parted this. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh no, you don't mean...
Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try.
Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, right.
So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again.
What? You've done it again!
Your handcuffs are gone.
Where did they go? Fear not, I shall see they are restored after our work is done.
I really wish you'd just leave them off.
Now, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Let's dance. Alright, first we gotta dig into the whole snake part.
Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain.
She does have a pained expression on her face.
Yeah, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then?
Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova.
Alright, let's see. Whoa! Hello!
Oh! Naruhodo-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound.
Looks like a scratching by some kind of small animal. Fairly recent, too.
Well, whatever scratcher doesn't appear to be around here.
Well...
Yes!
I'm thinking the snake may not have been her pet. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain.
Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh.
Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night?
When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on the pretentious night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us.
It seems likely that the scratch marks on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they?
No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet, which claws might grow.
Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers?
We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer.
She's right. Let's see. I imagine... Oh, hello! Ah, look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away.
She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she?
Yeah, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe you better take a closer look at this. Look at that little cat Miss Pavlova's cuddling there.
Oh, what a cute little kitten. It would vibe with you, couldn't it, Naruhodo-san? For the blackest outfit.
Black kitten. From the looks of this picture, at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attached to it.
Yes!
So whose snake is this? Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us.
Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear.
Oh no.
The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you?
Daka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind.
Daka would appear to be Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in quite a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanations can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's loud skin.
Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back.
If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known.
Oh yes, plays like that are Mr. Shom's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something.
I thought deduction was his specialty. Or maybe making me believe that he was a ploy too.
Anyway, I find it hard to believe that Skin is a snake.
In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Well, we're gonna ask her, man. Well, it's speckled, and it's a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort? And that looks like a handle at the end. I think it may be a cat's toy. Oh, whoops.
I think it may be a cat's toy. This is sort of common in the West, apparently.
How is that a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them and they pounce to catch it.
Sounds positively adorable. Well.
Yes!
Yes, the thing you are trying, but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of that now infamous speckled band. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Ms. Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah! In summary, the nature of this friend, Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breeder cat by the name of Daka. Well, that's one thing solved. A truly troublesome feline young Daka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Okay, I don't know why we had to grab this, but sure.
It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Daka, she is so naughty.
Well, that's one thing, but now we gotta figure out how we're even gonna deal with this.
Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been appraised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom.
What Mr. Shom says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere in Kazuma-sama's body.
That's right, but Mr. Shom seemed to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned.
Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Sounds good to me. Let's see, where's that?
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report.
Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other.
His neck was...
Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath could be strong enough to survive that.
Seaman Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know.
The jury is out. Anyway, we have good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as a fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no. Could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively.
Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though.
Presumably Darker didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow.
I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. Could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident.
Oh yeah, a bad fall could explain it.
It's rather hard to believe the Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man.
Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that would explain what happened? The scuff!
Yes!
Yes! An examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively.
This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results, the undeniable ingredients of shoe polish.
And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's lace leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped.
Please, no.
And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in an instant, he lost his life.
No!
Well, what does that have to do with her, though?
I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence led to the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life?
Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it.
I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what's happened.
But...
And if this part of Mr. Shom's deduction is right, Ms. Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction she just cast her eyes.
Where, I wonder?
Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. What in the... It's not the tiara, is it? Wait.
This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them.
But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Whoa! What's that?
It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before.
If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind is simply playing tricks on you.
Yes!
Why do you have this? That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket.
Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact.
Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly.
Oh no.
So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not?
That's the kitten's bell!
I don't...
I don't know. And that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl.
Why?
Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What?
Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yeah. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell. That would be... Oh no.
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question.
The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall.
And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka.
I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry.
Oh no. I don't know if I like this result. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night.
It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands.
People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments.
She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it.
Yes, and I had read the, rules on the wall. I know that I was not allowed Darka with me.
Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really.
So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping.
So at this point, you thought it safe to try and lure the kitten back again. By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator into the adjoining cabin.
Darka always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return.
So the faint whistling sound Cosmo wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet.
Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then...
Oh.
I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Cosimo was...
From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Bury is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. And Mr. Asoki was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet. A combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards?
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator.
Yet Daka is nowhere to be seen.
I must have forgotten to lock my case, and now she's disappeared again.
Gracious, that cat is as insufferably restless as I am.
Well, he knows something about himself at least.
When I woke this morning, I heard that the young man in the cabin next to mine had died, but I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared that they would send me back.
Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake?
You're right. Where is it?
If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it? Where'd it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board the ship?
Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirosko.
What?
That snake belongs to you? He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here.
Yeah, how did that snake get into this cabin?
But animals are not permitted on board. Huh, we are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend, without someone who understands?
Can't you find someone a little more human, who understands you better?
But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake? Surely you can't appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. Pirosko does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny. It's venomless? Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see his big smile.
And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose.
Ha, like they say, milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snake that drinks milk and only stupid stories. Pirosko eats mouses. Big, fat, round mouses.
Ah, oh, so is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for?
Of course. How else can I get my friend's favorite food?
Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now.
It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord. And it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It's not my fault. I don't make up stories. My Pirosko has nothing to do with this incident.
So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death.
Miss Pavlova? I understand that the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But...
What are you talking about, Miss Magatoa? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident.
I'm not grade detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
To be perfectly honest, Yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it.
I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter.
Oh!
I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction.
A distraction?
I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable.
What? Not again? When did he do that?
Especially as they're on your wrists as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call.
You were... Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours, was he not?
Yeah. Cosmo was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even.
In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yeah, whatever that may be. Key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. And we'll have to find this out next time. So until then, guys, I'll see you all later.